Monolith is the new map in Paragon, coming on December the 6th. With it comes a whole rework of the game, from heroes to cards. Today's video is just focusing on the new map, so let's get into everything you need to know about Monolith in 8 minutes. Firstly, why are Epic Games building a new map? For multiple reasons actually, and all are connecting to each other. Monolith is roughly 30% smaller, and this is to help deal with travel mode no longer being in the game. Of course, movement speed will be increased overall to compensate this. You will also move slower if jumping, backtracking, strafing or shooting, which is quite an interesting change. Legacy, what the original map is now called, made it so it was easier for you not to be punished for bad teamwork or map positioning. Again, this relates to travel mode, but the new map Monolith will make every bad move you make have consequences. All these combined are help to reduce match times also. So let's get into the lanes, shall we? The biggest change from Legacy is the map isn't mirrored anymore. For example, you would always have your ranger and support against the other team's ranger and support on Refbud's side of 90% of the time you played. This also meant solo lane was a lot more quiet and boring to play, as all the combat was pretty much always happening on the other side of the map early game. Monolith is changing this. Firstly, the safe lane. The safe lane for a team is where your really good scaling heroes, aka the carries, can try to farm efficiently in the early game so they can gain success in the later game. Of course, if you have played Paragon, you know these heroes are weak early game and don't have much to counter ganks from junglers. This is why you need to give them more support hero to help them out, such as heroes as Steel or Decker fit this role very well. It's more defensive than other lanes, meaning rotations from enemy teammates should be easier to counter and remain safe, hence the safe lane. Now, to also spice up the game a bit, Epic have introduced a new buff called the Gold buff. Killing it will give the holder more card experience from last hits for a short period of time. This is something a good safe lane Joe wants to keep under control from the offlane and the jungler, making teams have more control over their economically. You also will be more vulnerable when trying to get it, so play carefully. You can see where the gold buff is on the map now. Actually, Epic have changed it so the person who gets the last hit on the buff minion gets the buff straight away instead of picking it up. Now let's talk about the other side of the lane, being the offlane. In the new meta, offlane is a hero that has the risky task of trying to solo the lane against the safe laners. It may seem quite the unfair advantage being pushed back to your tower and struggling to get those last hit kills right, but apparently they have balanced it out so card experience is not the only big experience gain. In fact, now instead of gaining 3 card points at once, you gain 1 by 1 quicker. Hero level is being changed too. And if you don't know already, sharing a lane means you share hero experience, so the offlaner will have an advantage there. The best strategy given is to try and outplay your opponents in the lane and get an experience advantage, meaning your stats are higher and also more upgrades on your abilities. Now the gold buff isn't just there for the safe laners. As an offlaner, when they go down to take it, this leaves them vulnerable, being able to push the lane, gank them with a coordinated jungler, or just using that time to have some breathing space and go back to your base. You can also see that towers are a lot closer together on the offlane, meaning when going back to base you can get back quicker into the action. This means that your lane can also be pushed against you a lot quicker, so if not protected, those towers can go down pretty quickly. Talking about towers, their range has been decreased from 2000 units to 1600 units. They also deal basic attack damage, and basic armor is 33% effective against that tower damage. Tier 1 towers actually have bonus armor for the first 7 minutes of the match. No other changes are known of this moment if the health has changed exactly, or the damage. As of right now in Legacy they are quite weak. The type of hero you want here is someone who has great wave clear and also has great escape. So someone like an Iggy or Severo could fit this role really well on paper. Offlane is meant to give you a different experience than being in mid lane or jungle. Talking about mid lane, let's look at their changes there. First thing you can see is that the dynamic has completely changed. In the middle, there's now a river meandering through the lane. You are also not on top of the lane but submerge yourself in the jungle. With the extra openness to mid lane, it creates a dangerous battlefield. It's never been more important to win your lane and being able to rotate to your team correctly. The only other difference is not much in the lane, but there being a so-called river buff. They state the river buff is a frequently random buff designed to assist roaming or laning players. My guess it helps health or mana regen being good possibilities for the buff. Now let's move on to what I believe is probably the biggest change in Monolith, is the jungle. First, in design. It will definitely be a lot more confusing at first getting used to the new layout of it, so let's go over the big changes. First, the jungle is split into two sides, not symmetrical like Legacy was. The safe lane side is the strong side. This means it has more jungle camps and the new buff. The off-lane side just has less camps, being the weaker of the two. The camps themselves have been changed. Instead of having a leveling system like before, from 1 to 3, the higher the more card experience you got from the camp, now after a certain period of time another million spawns in the camp, starting at 3 up to 5. Once it hits its max, again if not taken care of, it means your team is losing valuable card experience. Another main reason you want to kill those camps quickly is because harvesters have been replaced by amberlings. You don't have to place these, so harvester keys are completely gone. Every 2 minutes they give your team a complete shared experience boost. Now to actually fill up, you need to kill nearby jungle camps. Any team player can do this, you still have to stand on the plant however to collect all the extra card experience. Even the enemy team can damage your amberling and steal your card experience points from it, so make sure you keep an eye on them. Red buff is gone and is replaced by a green buff called the jungle buff. It provides a shield which explodes when it times out or when it just runs out, dealing damage in an AoE effect. Attacking a green buff shielded target reflects a small amount of damage per hit. Of course this is more focused on junglers being able to kill those camps quickly. A jump pump has been introduced also. It can make you quickly traverse from your base into the jungle. They deactivate when your first tier 2 tower has been taken down. And finally, fog walls have been introduced, not giving invisibility, but you cannot see enemies through the fog wall. Also, wards don't work if you're not the correct side of that wall. This is to deal with shadow panes being gone, helping junglers out with ganking lanes. And that is all you need to know about the map Monolith in 8 minutes. I may cover the overall hero changes in the future if people wish for me to do so. All I can say is that December the 6th needs to hurry up. If you enjoy this video, I will be doing Paragon videos a lot once this comes out, hopefully covering all the heroes, doing guides for them and my general impressions of the map and what needs to change. Anyway guys, I'll catch you next time.